In May, I started looking to buy a Harley Sportster 48. I'm 68 years old, and in my life, I've had 13 motorcycles. 5 of those motorcycles have been Harleys. Here's a picture of me in 1982 with my brand new 1982 Harley Davidson Y-Glide. Here's a picture of me on my 2010 Harley Davidson FXDL Dyna Lowrider. I did quite a few modifications to this bike. Sold this bike in 2015. And here is a 2004 Sportster 1200 Custom that I owned. Sold that in 2011. I currently have a 2022 Moto Guzzi V7 Special that I bought new. And I have a 1977 BMW R75/7. I bought my Sportster 48 at a Phoenix area power sports dealer. Now, looking around the Southwest at Sportster 48s, I feel like I got my bike for a pretty good price. People love to modify their Harleys. There is a huge aftermarket for Harley custom parts, and this is especially true for the Sportster. Now, in looking for a nice used 48, it's harder than you might think to find one bone stock. Now, obviously, the bike I bought has been modified, and the modifications done to this bike are not my style. So I'm going to want to undo the changes that were made to this bike. I'm going to want to put this bike back to original or near original condition. So the saddleman seat, the Harley Davidson sissy bar, the Harley Davidson passenger pegs, and the Cobra neighbor hater mufflers are going to have to go. Well, it is 12:30 in the morning on June 21st, the summer solstice. Now, it's only supposed to be 100 degrees today, and it's supposed to get down into the high 70s for the overnight low. So I decided to come out in the garage and work a little bit while it's tolerable. I bought some original mufflers for the bike. You can see it's got some Cobra neighbor haters on it now. I'm not going to keep those. Now, I may not use the factory mufflers, but I have them. I would like to have all the original stuff for the bike. And I'm thinking about putting some Khrome Werks mufflers on it, but I could possibly put the stock mufflers on it. Now, one thing I do need to do tonight is get the trickle charger hooked up, because the bike's going to sit in the garage for a long period of time without running, so I need to get a trickle charger hooked up. So that's my mission for tonight. And since I have to take the seat off, I'm going to remove the seat, I'm going to remove the sissy bar, I'm going to remove the passenger pegs. I got the sissy bar and the seat off. I'm going to have to get some fender bolts. These are for the sissy bar and they're too long, so I'll have to see if I can get some bolts for the fender. Well, it's pretty dirty, so I'm going to have to clean this up just a little bit because the seat's going to mount right here. So I'm going to want to clean this up a little bit. Now the bottom of this clamp uses a 3/8 socket. And there's a little hook here that hooks into this piece right here. Now if you look right here, here's the positive post of the battery. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to leave the battery in place, just put it where I can get this out, and then connect up my trickle charger leads. All right, I have my positive trickle charger lead there. All right, got the ground wire hooked up. Now this fuse, to find a place for that to sit. I got a stock Sportster 48 seat off eBay. This seat is really nice. It's like brand new. And I'm going to have to look into this, removing this rear foot peg. I don't know if there's a bracket I need to get. The rear master cylinder, it looks like it bolts up to this foot peg bracket. And if that's the case, I'm going to have to get a different bracket. So I'm going to have to look into that. Well, it's 11:30 at night, and it's 100 degrees in the garage. Absolutely hotter than hell. Summer's only 25% over. I backed the Trans Am out, and I have a little bit of space to work on the Sportster. I'll try to get a few things done tonight. Hard to believe, but you are looking at $35 worth of chrome bolts. I got these at my Ace Hardware. Hopefully I can get the rear fender bolted up. And I got a couple small bolts for the rear brake line bracket. I'd like to get that done tonight. And I have a 1/4 bolt for the seat. I may not use that for the seat. I may use that for that rear fender bracket. Something I want to do tonight is get these rear fender bolts in place. Now, I bought these chrome bolts at my local Ace Hardware, and also got chrome washers. I'm going to want to reuse these plates that came out of the inside, and I'm going to put a little bit of blue Loctite on the bolts. Now, I went ahead and removed this inner fender bracket and washed it. I mean, the inside of the fender's dirty, but since I had it out, I might as well wash it. Now these nuts, I'll call them nuts, these little plates, will fit into the bracket like this. This tab will keep it from spinning. Alright, I have some blue Loctite on the bolt. So go ahead and set this in place. I have a lot of room with the turn signal. Alright, before I tighten that up, I want to get the other one. Alright, I'm going to get the one installed on this side. Get these snugged up. And get the other side snugged up. And these two bolts fit just about perfect. And they're not tight yet. I want to get the front ones first. I want to get the nylock up in place before I try to start the bolt. I'm going to stick my Allen wrench in there, try to run that through the bolt, or the nut, and then I can just hold the nut in place and put the bolt in. Alright, I have both sides started. So now I think I can tighten these 4 bolts down. The 4 fender bolts are tightened up, so I'm in pretty good shape there. I went ahead and put the Khrome 1/4-20 Allen head bolt and chrome washer that I got at Ace Hardware here in this rear fender bracket. Got a couple short stainless steel Allen head bolts for this brake line bracket. These are pretty serious bolts for that bracket. But obviously it has to hold a passenger peg as well. So I'm going to use a little bit of Never Seez on those. Stainless hardware is notorious for galling, and although it's worse in aluminum, I may want to take these out someday, so just give them a little dab of Never Seez. Alright, so got a little bit of Never Seez on these. Go ahead and get them in place. Try not to make a big mess. And you know the old saying, you can paint a house with a pint of Never Seez. Stuff gets everywhere. And it goes everywhere. Alright, that's tight enough. I tie wrapped my trickle charger connector right here. Now in the future, when the weather cools down and I can get this bike out in the sunlight and wash it and get it clean, I may choose to relocate this. Now, I found a original rear master cylinder bracket on eBay. So I bought that, and that's coming. So I'll be able to remove this rear foot peg. Well, all right, it's already looking better. So the next thing I think will be to get that right side rear passenger peg off and get the master cylinder bolted back up to the bike with the original bracket. And so I'm going to have direct access to these Torx head bolts to get them loose. Since I have to take the exhaust system loose, I'm going to go ahead and pull these Cobra mufflers off because I'm going to replace them anyway. And since I'm down here doing this, I might as well just take them off now. And I got these 2 bolts out of the bottom. This clamp is loose. So it's just twist and pull. Alright. So we got the Cobra muffler off. Give this a good cleaning, polish it up, and put it up for sale. Somebody will probably want it. And it is straight through. Noisy. I'll go ahead and do the same thing with the front muffler. Get it off the bike since I'm going to replace them anyway. And just get it out of the way for taking this exhaust system loose. Hopefully these pipes will seal back up once I loosen these and don't have to replace the exhaust gasket. Alright, so I'll loosen up the front one. See if I can move these pipes out of the way enough to get access to those Torx bolts. Alright, I've loosened up the exhaust, so there's still a few threads of nut left on the studs, but it looks like I'm going to be able to move these enough to where I can get on these Torx bolts. These are installed with red Loctite. This could be difficult. No, this one's coming loose. Oh, good. And this one, right on. All right. Has there ever been a Harley owner that hasn't had to work on his bike? That's not been my experience. Alright, got the master cylinder out of the way. Tell you what, these things aren't going to break. These things are super heavy duty. Alright, so I got Loctite on the bracket bolts, and I have Loctite on the master cylinder bolts. I have red Loctite on the bracket bolts, and I have blue Loctite on the master cylinder bolts, because I suppose it's possible that the master cylinder may have to be changed at some point in the bike's life. Hopefully not as long as I own it. Alright, so that's that. Alright, so got the master cylinder back on with the original bracket. Got that rear foot peg off. I have the Khrome mufflers off. Those will not be going back on. So there's no sense in me putting the exhaust system back together until I put some different mufflers on it. Now I have the header flange nuts tightened up ham tight on both sides, so the pipes still move around a little bit. The next thing with the Sportster will be to get the exhaust installed. Well, it's 98 in the garage. I've had the garage open for about a half an hour. It's starting to cool down. But it rained, so it's really humid. But today's probably the best day to work on this bike, since it's really going to heat up over the next couple days. I want to see if I can get this exhaust installed. I bought a set of Khrome Werks diagonal slash mufflers. These mufflers are black. The reason I got black mufflers is the stock mufflers are black with chrome heat shields, and I want to try and put those chrome heat shields on these Khrome Werks mufflers. Alright, so what I want to do now is get the heat shields off the stock mufflers and make sure they fit on these Khrome Werks mufflers. Now these stock mufflers and heat shields, they look brand new. And the eBay ad said they were brand new. They were off a brand new bike. So I'm going to take these stock mufflers, I'm going to put them in the Khrome Werks box, and I'll save them. Alright, I have the chrome heat shields loosely installed on the Khrome Werks mufflers. And I think these are going to look great. My goal is to have the bike look stock. And I believe these Khrome Werks mufflers are going to look pretty close to stock original mufflers. But they're going to sound a whole lot better. Here's what the inside looks like. Alright, I have the muffler bracket loose. So these bolts here are finger tight. One thing I noticed when removing the heat shields from the stock mufflers is one of the heat shields had the hex head for the worm clamp in opposite directions. Now I think that goes for the front because I won't be able to get back behind here to tighten up the clamp. So the clamp has to be tightened from the top. I'm having a little trouble with the clamp, so what I've done is taken a screwdriver here and I've pried this piece here that seals the system. I pried it so it's more in the center of the opening. It'll make it easier to get this clamp on the muffler. Alright, I have the front muffler on. And nothing is tight yet. So everything is just finger tight. So I'm going to go ahead and get the back muffler on. Now so far the most difficult part has been getting this clamp on. Alright, the mufflers are on, everything's finger tight. This heat shield's got a little bit of a ding in it, which is a bummer. So I might have to get on eBay and see if I can find another heat shield. I mean, I'll use it for now, but I'll keep my eye out for another one. So what I think I'll do now is I'm going to take these bolts out one by one, reinstall them with Loctite. Alright, I have all the bolts on the bottom tightened up with a little dab of red Loctite. I have the header bolts tightened up, and I have this clamp here tight. So I believe I'm at the point where I can put on the heat shields for the header pipes. Now these lower heat shields, they're not tightened up yet. Alright, the install is finished. Got the Khrome Werks diagonal slash mufflers installed, along with the factory chrome heat shields. Looks pretty darn stock. The only difference in the Khrome Werks and the stock mufflers is the outlet is slightly different. But at first glance, they certainly look stock. So, it's pretty late at night, but I'll give it a quick fire up. It's in the garage, so it's going to sound kind of loud, but let's hear it. It's hot in here. Alright, it's late at night. Can't be making a bunch of noise. But it looks good, sounds pretty good, and I'm happy with the transformation. So I guess that'll be the end of this video. I'm liking how the bike is coming together. It's looking pretty stock, looking pretty nice. Got an upgraded exhaust, but otherwise, the bike is looking pretty stock. And that's how I want it. So thanks for watching.